welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live from Anisabata Desawe Kanda, also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Y and beyond. I am Alfred Ocansey this evening. Top officials of the National Service Authority, including former Director General Osei Sibe and his deputy Gifty Owari Mensah, face charges in a 542 million Ghana cedis ghost name scandal. Will bring you a list of several other individuals implicated in the alleged criminal enterprise shortly.
Investigations have revealed a sprawling criminal enterprise whose network covers the entire country.
Stay with us for more on this one. Also, striking nurses suspend 12 days nationwide strike pending a June 26 engagement with government to finalize a roadmap towards implementation of their conditions of service. We've got details for you on this one.
Having monitored the misinformation, disinformation, and the propaganda that have surrounded our strike action, the leadership of the association would like to set some record straight on.
Plus, 16 individuals, including 12 invigilators, arrested for malpractice in this year's Basic Education Certificate Examination. Question we're asking this evening here on Hot Edition: will this ever end? WAEC, Head of Public Affairs, is going to be joining us. We'll have a conversation this evening here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Bring you a summary of the news now, and Lord Edwasari is here.
Indeed, thank you, Alfred. Now to the summaries. Attorney General and Minister of Justice Dr. Dominic Ayine has revealed that Ghana lost over 548 million Ghana cedis through a criminal enterprise operating within the National Service Authority. He confirmed that investigations have concluded and charges will be filed against 12 suspects involved in the scandal, including former Deputy Director Gifty Owari Mensah, who allegedly masterminded the operation. Then in Parliament, the House has summoned the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensah, to appear before it next week amid mounting pressure over unresolved Ablekuma North parliamentary results. The EC is yet to complete the recollation of results from the 2024 elections in the constituency, despite repeated calls for stakeholders. More news. The head of public affairs at the West African Examination Council, WAEC, Mr. John Kapi, has disclosed that the number of individuals arrested for the examination malpractice during the ongoing 2025 Basic Education Certificate Examination, BEC, has risen to 16. Speaking in an interview, Kapi revealed that those apprehended include 12 invigilators, 1 supervisor, and 3 individuals unaffiliated with the examination process. And finally, the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, GRNMA, has suspended the nationwide strike following what it described as very fruitful discussions with Parliament's Select Committee on Health on Thursday. The industrial action, which began on June 2, was in protest over what the association said were undue delays in implementing a collective agreement signed in May 2024. That's for the news summaries, Alfred.
Lord Edwasari, thank you so much. That's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Hot Edition. We're live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Y and beyond. As always, we're live on Facebook at 3FM 927. Your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions are welcome at 3FM 927. Also on Facebook and on X and on YouTube. We'll read it out to you and to the rest of the world. Let's get into the stories right now. And this has been topical over the last few hours. 12 individuals, including high-ranking current and former staff of the National Service Authority, have been implicated in a 548 million cedis ghost name scandal undertaken by the National Intelligence Bureau and the Office of the Attorney General. Attorney General and Minister for Justice Dr. Dominic Ayine, at a media briefing today, confirmed that his office has concluded its investigations into the elaborate payroll fraud scheme that led to the loss of public funds. The Attorney General is getting ready to file criminal charges against all 12 individuals involved in the alleged criminal enterprise. Now, we're going to get you details of exactly who are these individuals. But first, take a listen to Dr. Dominic Ayene, the Attorney General, addressing the press not too long ago.
In total, we can confirm from our evidence on the docket and from interrogations that a whopping 548,333,542 cedis and 65 pesos. That's how accurate. 36 cedis and 16 pesos was service personnel generated from the central management system and submitted to the NSA accounts office, and the data of the NSA personnel who were actually paid through the gift system for a period of 6 years. That is from 2018 to 2024. It was established that a total of 587,543 personnel were to be submitted to gifts for payment of allowances. Meanwhile, data from gifts showed that a total of 650,165 personnel were paid, indicating that 63,672 constituted ghost names. These consisted of the following categories of personnel. That is, national service personnel who were blocked on the CMS system during the registration process. Then personnel, national service personnel numbers that exist in the payment records but do not exist on the central management system. And then, of course, NSA or national service volunteers, and then some management staff and marketplace vendors. Fellow countrymen and women, our investigators additionally established that some of the ghost names were added to the list submitted by vendors, representing the number of service personnel to whom they had supplied items or provided loan facilities, allegedly. When these vendors eventually received the payments, the directors and staff would then contact the vendors whose accounts had received payments, meet with them, and collect the additional money that had been added to the vendors' payments. For instance, we have conclusively established that after collecting these funds, some of the suspects, such as Gezi, Nyako, and Othing, handed them over to suspect Ose Asibe Entry in cash, and on some occasions deposited the cash into his bank account. Ose Asibe was the chief executive, the director general of the National Service Authority. Some directors, such as Gifty Owari Mensah, created and executed a meticulously detailed plan using NSP, National Service Personnel Allowances, as security to obtain a loan of 30,698,218 cedis, 69 pesos, from the Agricultural Development Bank, ADB, at an interest rate of 23%. She achieved these results by using other people's information to register a company called Blocks of Life Consult without their knowledge or permission. Subsequently, she presented Blocks of Life Consult through and in the person of Akwesi Ofori Minta to an official of the Agricultural Development Bank, and enlisting her husband, Mr. Peter Mensah, a lawyer, to act as one of the directors or representative of the said company. She told ADB that the company specialized in supplying home appliances to national service personnel and proposed that ADB finance the company to enable it to supply these items on hire purchase basis to the service personnel, with the NSA being responsible for handling deductions and repayments. During the period, Gifty was the acting director, Gifty Owari Mensah was the acting director of the authority. However, on the marketplace of the authority, there was no indication that Blocks of Life was a registered vendor. Within 2 service years, suspect Gifty Oware Mensah used a total of 9,934 ghost names to misappropriate the aforementioned funds. Investigation further established that after ADB transferred the funds into the account of the company, she subsequently transferred the funds into 4 different company accounts with the names of Amiacom, Scaffold, Oche, and Aristo Logistics and Trading. It was further established that suspect Gifty is a director of Amiacom, and Scaffold Company Limited belongs to suspect Abraham Gazy. That between 3rd March 2023 and 24th May 2024, suspect Gifty transferred 22,925,518 Ghana cedis and 69 pesos to Amiacom, 1 million Ghana cedis to Scaffold, 1,572,000 Ghana cedis to Oche, and 5,200,000 Ghana cedis to Aristo Logistics and Training. We have this on record. We have all the bank details. We have everything, in the docket. Investigations, however, established that Eric Nyako, from 2017 until April 2024, and Idrisu Ibn Abubakar, April 2024 to December 2024, were responsible for preparing and transmitting NSP payroll data to GIPS for payment of allowances with the approval of the former NSA Director General, Mustafa Yusuf, who is now an MP, Gifty Oware Abuaje, acting from February 2021 to September 2021, and Osea Sibe Enchwe, September 2021 to January 2025. Without their explicit authority, nothing was possible. In other words, all these transfers could not have taken place without the authorization of the chief executive officers and or the director general, depending on the nomenclature that was used to describe their roles.
That's the Attorney General, Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine. They're giving some very, very interesting and rather concerning detail of the investigations into this National Service ghost name scandal. Now, Martin Pebo is paralegal practitioner, has been monitoring this quite closely and is joining us on the telephone. Counsel, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, good evening. It's Ocansey.
Is this one of the cases that was captured in the oral preparatory team's report, the National Service ghost name scandal?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. You know, it's actually, at a point, the case was already made public. I think they had gone to OSP. But, you know, with subsequent, events, it turned out that it would be good to come to the oral preparatory team. And so that's what they did. And then now we're seeing. So meaning that they are largely corruption, non-corruption, causing financial loss, etc. That's how come it's appropriate for the Attorney General to deal with those.
And hearing the detail today at that press briefing by the Attorney General, suspect Gifty Oware Mensah used the NSS data as collateral for some over 30 million loan from the ADB, subsequently transferred it to other companies that had been established in this entire, what the Attorney General described as a criminal enterprise, essentially. And then also 8.2 million cedis paid into an Iswich account belonging to the former NSA boss, Osea Sibe Enchi. And then also beyond that, Mustafa Yusuf, who became the Youth and Sports Minister, served as a Director General at some point, and Gifty Oware Mensah and 10 other persons as well who are going to be prosecuted. And then we're getting to know as well the details of how all of this played out, this entire scheme that cost the nation, from what we've been told today, over 548 million cedis. How does all of this detail you had today strike you?
Yeah, so with the details, my first thought was that, so it's good we really change government, right? It's good we booted out the NPP. Because you wouldn't have had an NPP government investigating itself the manner in which Dr. Ayine and his friends are doing. No, it wouldn't have happened. It would have been a cover-up. And at least, I have the case of the Aqua Africa contract, the one Cecilia Adapa entered into without the Attorney General's opinion, etc. As an empirical example to buttress my point, when the Attorney General's attention was drawn to how we have lost money because Cecilia Adapa paid money contrary to the rules, etc., through the Community Water and Sanitation Agency, Attorney General just said, oh, they should recover the money. The Attorney General didn't reveal to us, that's Godfrey Dami, for accountability purposes, etc. So this National Service Authority scandal, it would similarly have been swept under the carpet. You report, but you won't get any results. It's just like the Cecilia Adapa case. You remember last week you played a tape where Kisi Ejabe said, Mr. Raymond Archer has come for the file on Cecilia Adapa to go and continue investigations. And Kisi Ejabe himself said that you see how a different leader has decided to continue. But Tiwa Adodankwa teamed up with Godfrey Dami to say, oh, they cannot do money laundering investigations because there's no predicate offense, etc. So it just tells you that, it's good we just booted out the NPP. That's the first thing. To help get better governance, because all of these cases were just going to be kept under the wraps. Yes, that's the main point. As for, yes, dissipation of public funds, yes, that's the second point. But it's actually also embedded in the first point that wouldn't have had accountability, but for the change in the government. So the second point is that there's a good opportunity for us to recover a lot of the money. Of course, naturally, you can't recover all, but we'll get a lot of it. So it's exciting. I remember how Dr. Ayine said the money that is recovered can be used to help do the expressway from Accra to Kumasi, yes, to make the journey faster, etc. We need incubators for babies, more facilities in the hospitals, etc. So it's exciting. Somebody even said, oh, the nurses strike. When we recover some of the money, it can be used to pay their allowances, the grievances that they have. So it's all very exciting.
But you look at the charges as well, and I asked the question specifically of you recall the Attorney General himself saying a member of Parliament was allegedly paid to, as it were, bury this story in the media. Today, I asked that question for an update on what has become of that particular part of the investigation. This is the response that the Attorney General gave to that particular question that I asked. And I wanted to listen to it, and if that takes the box for you, having to know that now we know the identity of this member of Parliament and what the AG is doing next.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your very wonderful questions. The question in relation to the member of Parliament who was in the center of the investigation. There are two members of Parliament who were investigated in this scandal. One was a former chief executive officer, that is the Honorable Mustafa Yusuf. And so in his case, we basically had the evidence, relating to actions that he had taken as the executive officer, and then we interrogated him. In the case of the famous A+, the investigation is still ongoing, and there are talks with him with respect to the role that he will play, either in respect of providing evidence against those who try to do what is alleged to have been done, or if at the end of the day no agreement is reached, then maybe he will have to stand trial. That is where we are with respect. So the investigations are ongoing. We haven't concluded with him yet. The investigators were supposed to go to Parliament and do the interrogation in Parliament. And at the last time that they made a request, they could not do the interrogation. Now,
so that's a response to the question I asked about this identity of the MPOs alleged to have been paid. Now we know said to be A+, Kwame Asari-Obeng, and then he gives that detail of what the Attorney General is doing in that regard. How do you react to this?
Okay, so it's also a good day for our democracy. Yes, our democracy has been moved a notch higher in terms of its ability to hold persons in public office accountable. Because now that A+ is being officially named as a person responsible for that, I'm sure A+ will also be thinking twice, or he will reflect over his role in all of this. And perhaps, it may ginger him to want to give up those people who brought that money to him. And then, A+ himself, as I said, he would also reflect to see that, well, he has barely served even 1 year in Parliament, and this is what he's been what they call caught up in. You see that then it tells you that it's so, sometimes it's easy to sit there and hold other persons accountable, but then when it comes to one's personal affairs, it's a different ball game. So it's good. It's good for our democracy. It's a warning to all of us who are helping to keep public officers in check, that we also should be very mindful of our conduct, because at the time, at least A+, I think from the facts, it appears, is it clear that by then A+ had won the elections? Even if he had won, okay, let me see. Do you have information whether from the facts?
No, we don't have the timelines to when the money was given to him.
Yes, so I think my mind tends to think that if you want to kill a story, then that's in last year. Was it somewhere around October, November, or even early, November, there about October or November when the story broke. So then it tells you that, it's easy to hold public officers to account, but maybe we do also want to hold ourselves to account. So it's a big lesson for all of us in the anti-corruption and governance space that we have to be careful. Yes, we have to be careful, because who would have thought that A+, who rode the moral high horse, talking about Kufuado and all the people, would be caught up in this particular quagmire. So it's a lesson to all of us.
And Counsel, finally, before I let you go, look at the charges that have been preferred against these two other individuals. And I'll find out your thoughts on this. Stealing, contrary to Section 12641, conspiracy to steal, willfully causing financial loss to the state, and using public office for profit, conspiracy to commit money laundering, and money laundering. How does this strike you?
Yeah, so those are very serious offenses, very serious. Don't joke. Look, when you look at stealing, it goes with a maximum of 25 years. That's a maximum term. Yeah, so depending on the quantum involved, each person, it's very serious. Stealing is a second-degree felony. That's extremely serious. It's scary. I just hope that, if the people involved, really accept that everything Dr. Ayine said is true, then they may want to do plea bargain to be able to reduce their sentences. Because if you argue this case in court, if you went through a full trial, usually the sentence will be far higher than if the accused did a plea bargain. Yes. So it's really scary. To be honest with you, it's scary. Because as I said, stealing is the highest. It goes with up to 25 years. Yeah, that's really, really, really scary. Because you don't know the day the judge may go for the maximum to say that he wants it to be a deterrent to other like-minded persons. Yeah. So let's see how it turns out. The only other thing is that, and another journalist asked that question, that she gave intelligence that she had heard that lawyers for the suspects would subsequently frustrate the trial so as to make it last long, like the Opuni trial, etc. And then I heard the Attorney General says, well, he's prepared for that. We hope there are no frustrations, etc., so that the recoveries and the trials can come to an end quickly, so that we can get some money into the public purse to help with our developmental activities. And also the closure of the cases would then finally would send final messages to people that, hey, we all need to be careful, because, you know, sometimes for as long as there's not been any convictions yet, you know, we would still say all these people are innocent until proven guilty. That's Article 19 clause 2. So though we have heard, and though they will suffer some reputational losses for what we've already heard, but ultimately they are not guilty until a trial goes on and they are proved guilty, or they themselves admit their guilt either in court or through plea bargaining. So let's see how it goes. But certainly, I mean, as I said, the most important fruit out of today's press conference is that it tells us that we did the right thing by kicking out the MPP. And it was always clear, you know, they kept denying, we are not corrupt, we are not doing anything wrong. I know citizens, we all can't be stupid. We could see it, the lifestyles, the big cars, the multiple homes they've bought, etc. Look at, you see, there's Ocansey-based e-switch card containing 8 million Ghana. E-switch card, 8 million Ghana. Ocansey, how? When he was coming to office, did he have such an e-switch card? I mean, how do you do this? You know? So, as I said, it's good. Let's go on.
And Council, I do appreciate it. And maybe quickly before you go, I think that the major point is that the recovery is an integral part of the entire strategy of oral that you were part of, is it not?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And Dr. Ayine mentioned it. Yes. So for me, all these people that Dr. Ayine has mentioned, yes, for me, will publicly say that, look, yes, even though it appears he's going to charge all of them, if it turns out that they all want to return the money so that maybe even some even with a bit of interest, I would go for it too, because we need the money quickly. We need it quickly. You know, usually we don't gain much from long sentences. So you see that Dr. Ayine says, so to be clear, from what I heard, I didn't hear from the beginning, but to be clear, you know, the 500 and something million that they are recovering, it appears that is for those who are making deals with the Attorney General, Dr. Ayine, right? The 560 million. That
yes.
is for those who have entered into deals, the non-prosecution agreement. That's where he's making that money. Is that not so?
And that's why he put a specific figure to it, yes. As to how much they have uncovered was lost to the scheme as a result of the entire scheme.
No, then let's disaggregate it more. So what I'm interested in is that these 12 persons who are going to be put before the court, how much is that figure as against those who have agreed to return the money? Because those going to court, my point is that we are not going to make the money today or later this year. No. If they decide not to plead guilty, etc., it's not now. It will be years. Look, even without frustrating the court, from the way our criminal cases run, you are not likely to finish in less than a year. Even when the judge is doing daily trials, etc., you are not likely to finish in less than a year. So maybe let's see if we can disaggregate to know out of the 560-something million, how much are we getting an immediate recovery? That's those returning the money immediately. And then those going before the court, how much is with them? Those going before the court also want to return their money. I think Dr. Ayine should accept, because I think I heard a part of it where he said some people wanted to do a deal, but
yes.
he wasn't in favor.
Yes,
because of the rule. No,
the role they played.
I think that, you see, there are many more cases. So sometimes we need to accept, so that we can accept money into the public kitty and move on. Because sometimes when you say no, you will not accept you want to prosecute the person, you go into court 10 years. Let's remember this example. The last time Alfred Ocansey tried that, you see, he got his fingers bent, and then the state also lost because he was caught in the Japa tape, trying to coach witnesses, doing very unethical things. And number two, the state didn't get the 2.3 million euros, right, that the deep sea people had promised to refund. Maybe next time there's a press conference, we should ask Dr. Ayeni, would he write to the ambulance company to see if we can still get the refund? So that is a deep, and a very fresh example for all of us as a nation. Sometimes the people say they will return money. Let's accept it. I know a lot of Ghanaians will say, no, the person should go to jail. But the person will not go to jail in a day or two. The moment you say the person should go to jail, the person may say no. Then I'll try out my luck in court. So I want a full trial, hoping that something will happen. Maybe in the process, a judge may be transferred. It will delay the case a bit. The state attorney may travel abroad to school. They will give it to another person. 1,001 reasons can help delay the case. And then maybe the person will be timing. You see, when you're doing analysis, okay, let me see. President Mama has 4 years. We've already done 6 months. So effectively, he has 3 years. Maybe the next NDC leader, these people will begin to look for him and be in his good books so that when he comes, you say, oh, no, stop this trial. Sure. It's a complex, So when somebody offers money, we should take it instead of, no, we want to convict you in a court of law to serve as a deterrent. Ask Alfred Ocansey. Today, Alfred Ocansey is ruined because the Japa tape will follow him forever. You see, and then we didn't get the money that the ambulance company wanted to refund to us. Yes.
Council, appreciate your time on this, and I know we're going to be engaging more on this in the coming days. Thank you so much. Martin Pebo is a member of the Operation Recover All Loot preparatory team. They've rounded up their work, submitted the report to the president that has been forwarded to the Attorney General, and one of the cases in the oral report is this National Service Authority ghost name scandal, which the Attorney General gave some detail, an update on, very, very important update on, and then also what the way forward is after they have rounded up their investigations in collaboration with the National Intelligence Bureau.
Pesos into his account from 2021 to 2024. Suspect Charles Ahiming of GH Ohetech Ventures received a total payment of 14,235,118 Ghana cedis and 14 pesos into his account from 2022 to 2024. Suspect Kweku Opare Agofa and Prince Agofa Awoku of Fralisa Ventures received a total payment of 9,011,164 and 35 Ghana cedis into their accounts from 2023 to 2024. However, none of the aforementioned vendors provided evidence to the investigative team or to myself to prove that the amounts of money they received corresponded to the items supplied or the loans supposedly made to the National Service personnel.
That's Dr. Dominic Ayene, Attorney General, Minister of Justice there. And this 548,333,546 Ghana cedis is a total of the money lost to this National Service scheme over a 6-year period from what we gathered. And Lord Edwasari is here and is going to run through a breakdown of the yearly monies lost that culminated into this total of 548,333,542 Ghana cedis. Lord, what do we know?
Indeed, Alfred, 6-year period, and you, like you rightly mentioned, it culminated into 548,333,542 cedis, 0.65 pesos. And it's interesting to note that in the year 2022-2023, that year recorded the highest amount of money lost. That was about 350,926,977.12 pesos. So, Alfred, let me take you through. Start from 2018-2019. That year, 25,857,000 836 and 16 pesos was lost. And then in 2019-2020, 21,613,962.24 pesos. And then 55 in 2020-2021 was 55,670,584 million cedis, 0.32 pesos. In 2022, 61,383,025 cedis, 0.74 pesos. 2023, like I indicated earlier, 350,926,977.12 pesos. And then 2024 being the final year, that was 32,881,157 cedis, 0.7 pesos, Alfred. So if you do the sum of all these 6 years, you get a total of 548,333,542 cedis, 0.65 pesos.
Oh, sorry, thank you. And just the details and the names of the 12 persons that listed suspects or accused persons, including the top former government appointees of the National Service Authority. And these are the persons who, according to the Attorney General, the details today: Mustafa Yusuf, a former executive director who was eventually appointed the Minister for Youth and Sports. He is the Member of Parliament for the Kabore constituency, who indeed also came up for discussion, especially when this matter came up, and we're asking questions about within which period all of this took place. Mustafa Yusuf is the first on the list per what the Attorney General gave us today. The Member of Parliament for Yagaba Kabore constituency, Gifty Oware Mensah, former Deputy Executive Director, and Osea Sibe Entry, immediate past Director General. He succeeded Mustafa Yusuf. And then also Kwame Ohenejan, former Deputy Executive Director in charge of operations. Abraham Bismarck Gazy, a former internal auditor. Kweku Ejay, an account officer. Idrisu Abubakar, a former head of accounts. Stephen Kwabena Jemfi, former regional director for Koforedia. Also Prince Awoku, a district director. Jacob Yorson, Management Information Systems Administrator in the Northern Region. There are 2 additional unnamed suspects who are reportedly involved and will be added later. There's also another suspect, one Stephen Kwabena Jemfi, who was rearrested earlier in the day after new evidence surfaced. So that's the information that we have on these persons, the 12 that are going to be facing trial as a result of this over 548 million cedis National Service Ghost Name scandal, Lord.
Yeah, and then Alfred, there are also vendors that the Attorney General noted that they go ahead to file charges against them. They are located in the Eastern, Greater Accra and Ashanti regions. These vendors are Isaac Osai Asameni, the owner of Stalwart or Option Buy Ventures, Charles Oheming, the owner of CH Ohek Ventures, Philomena Arthur, the owner of Brainwave Ventures. Then there's Rose Hamilton, the owner of Marine Ventures. Kweku Opare Agbofa, the owner of Franlisa Ventures. Another here called Solomon Dramina, the owner of Alpha Rita Ventures. Haruna Maulaya, the owner of Alphaida Enterprise. Sylvia Ntirwa Opare, the owner of Silsona Ventures. And then Peter Mensah, a legal practitioner and the husband of Gifty Oware Mensah. These persons, the Attorney General indicated that are part of the list that they'll be filing the charges against.
Thank you, Lord Edward. Sorry for this update. All of this you'll find on 3news.com, so make some time and visit 3news.com. It's also live on our Facebook page right now at 3FM927. The numbers will be running by you and the details of all these individuals we're talking about. It's all live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Now, let's go into the matters related to the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. They've suspended the nationwide strike following what they described as very fruitful discussions with Parliament's Select Committee on Health yesterday. The industrial action, which began on June 2nd, 2025, was in protest over what the association said were undue delays in implementing a collective agreement signed in May 2024. Now, initially marked by the wearing of red armbands, the strike escalated into a full-scale withdrawal of outpatient and emergency services on June 9, severely disrupting healthcare delivery across the country. In a social media video, President of the association, Perpetual Foriampofo, said the decision to suspend the strike was influenced by appeals from the public, patients, and the timely intervention of the Health Committee of Parliament. Take a listen to this and what they put out earlier today.
Having monitored the misinformation, disinformation, and the propaganda that have surrounded our strike action, the leadership of the association would like to set some records straight on the following. 1. We are nurses and midwives trained to provide essential health services to the Ghanaian population, and matters affecting us which are brought formally to the attention of the employer must be treated with the urgency it deserves and in good faith. 2. As nurses and midwives, we do not take delight in seeing our patients suffer. However, we cannot take good care of others when the system does not take good care of us. The GRNMA is a non-partisan professional association and trade union, and the holder of the collective bargaining certificate covering all nurses and midwives in Ghana. In its 65 years of existence, the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association has never aligned with any political party in Ghana. Rather, it has worked with every government since 1960 in building a stronger and more resilient health system responsive to the health needs of Ghanaians, whilst at the same time, we representing the interests of nurses and midwives in matters related to their welfare and general working conditions.
That's the president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Perpetual Foriampofo, announcing the suspension of the strike. You can also listen to the former president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Dr. Kweku Krobia-Sante, expressing his views about the suspension. But first, let me acknowledge the presence of a labor expert, Austin Game, who's been following this quite closely. Mr. Game, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Alfred.
Now, this news is the suspension and not the calling off of the strike. What that essentially means is that the demands that they are making are still relevant and on the table, and they are only suspending this strike, according to the president, based on the assurances that the health committee gave them in that crucial meeting yesterday. How do you see things playing out?
Well, thank you so much. I think it's a normal union language in one way or the other. So it doesn't really, it shouldn't offend anybody. I think that they are just speaking the normal, usual union language.
I see. But then again, we've seen this happen before where unions would call off the strike based on assurances given to them, and then the strike is reignited again after those assurances are not fulfilled. I mean, we don't know the specific assurances that were given to the nurses, reason why they call off this strike, but they've been consistent that they are not going to renegotiate the terms because he has been signed off already. Mr. Game.
Well, I appreciate the difficulties both parties appear to have. And I think they have space of time now. If I were to be in their shoes, there should be some relentless engagement between the two parties so that the cards will be a lot more bare on the table, especially as prescribed under the Labour Act, so that all of them will have an appreciation of the reason why certain things are being done, so that by the time they give in to themselves, they would have found a kind of solution to the concerns that they have. But I think that in all honesty, it's not normal for nurses to go on strike. I agree with the president in part that they are not aligned necessarily to political parties. Normally, by even the law and the constitution, unions are not supposed to be, aligned to any political parties. I know many of them there who are NDC. I know many of them who are MPP. They are individuals. As a union, I think they are playing their role. They may be going left or right. It doesn't. That is subject to the employer putting things in the right order. So I think they will find a common solution.
And the common solution being what? What possible outcomes, I mean, based on your experience in this field, will play out?
Well, where there is a little bit of departure, I mean, me, I'm a teacher of this subject matter, industrial relations, up to any level you want to think about. So I am very clear in my mind that when you talk about negotiation, it's before, during, after. The after there includes implementation difficulties that they may have, which is all part of the negotiation. In the midst of this turbulence, you don't go teaching anybody anything, but they know who everybody is in this country. And so they cannot say, they are nurses, I can't give injection, I can't prescribe medicine for anybody. But when it comes to this field, I think everybody who cares to know, no. And I want them to appreciate the fact that negotiation is not limited to at the table when you are exchanging views and so forth and so on. And I do know that all the things they have gotten there, I was part of the advisory committee to them. So I am not a stranger to it, and I know they understand what I'm saying, that it doesn't mean when you have concluded negotiation for implementation, that ends the matter. It doesn't mean so. So that's why the law has been made, and Section 108 will tell you that any industrial dispute, you have to find a way of settling your differences. And so that's what they should be doing, and I'm happy they suspended or, close it up for now. The employer should do his homework well and tell them the reasoning behind why they are unable to implement it in the form in which they have concluded it. So I think it's important that they make that very clear. And the law permits them to make available relevant information for the purpose of whatever conversation they'll be having at the table.
Mr. Kame, I appreciate your time on this. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Austin Kame is a labor expert and the former president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Dr. Kweku Krobi Asante, has also been speaking about this development.
A great relief to everyone, even to the striking nurses and midwives themselves. And the general population of Ghanaians are happy for it. Well, we are all hoping that the government will do justice to their promise. But let me commend the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health for the timely intervention, which is what the striking nurses and midwives have been expecting all this while, that they could get people who care and hold an non-ambivalent position on the matter. And it just came at a time when it was needful. But I urge government not to renege on their promise, the government and the employers not to renege on their promise of quickly meeting the needs of the nurses and midwives fraternity. I do not think that going forward, the government will toy with the lives of Ghanaians by not caring for the needs of the nurses who are always prepared to offer service to humanity, especially the Ghanaian population. So we'll be watching, we'll be monitoring, we'll be holding ourselves in readiness and preparedness to receive what the employer is going to come up with. I hope, and I do hope very well, that it's not going to be something that would disturb the hopes and then put the nurses on the line again.
That's Dr. Kwebu Krobi-Asante, a former president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. They're still live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're also on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, and on W 93.5 in Y and beyond. 3FM is learning that a 15-year-old girl sitting for this year's Basic Education Certificate Examination, BC, was today rushed from the exam center to a health facility so she can deliver a baby. But understand she was heavily pregnant right from the beginning of this exam on Tuesday. The incident happened in the Upper West Regional Capital, where the candidate from Nyagli Junior High School was writing her paper at the Wa Senior High School Center when the incident occurred. In another development, the number of individuals arrested for examination malpractice during the ongoing 2025 Basic Education Certificate Examination has risen to 16. Those apprehended include 12 invigilators, 1 supervisor, and 3 individuals unaffiliated with the examination process. First, I want to take a listen to our Upper West Regional Correspondent, Ibrahim Wangara, who interviewed the headmistress of the Nyagli High School, that's junior high school, where this incident of the 15-year-old girl took place, that she had to be rushed to the hospital to deliver and stand a baby boy during the exams earlier today.
I was with them in the exam hall, so we spoke for a bit before it was time for them to start. So I left the exam hall, found somebody there. A few minutes into the paper, I was called. That was during the first paper, they were writing science. So I was called that my pregnant student is showing some signs of illness. So when I came, I realized that she was actually ill, so we had to rush her to the hospital. So currently, we are told that she's still at the early stages of this contraction. So she's under monitoring at the hospital. So as and when she's ready, then she will deliver. So as we talk right now, she has not delivered yet. She's still under monitoring. That is her current state. But we hope that she delivers today.
In terms of the exams, one would wonder what happened to her papers. So if we can throw more light.
The first paper today, which is science, we will say she has written because she wrote halfway before the whole situation occurred. So we will be thinking of what happens with the second paper, which is Ghanaian language. Now that she has not yet delivered, she's still in the hospital. We are making arrangements. So we are arranging with the exam supervisors for the paper to be sent to her to the hospital to write. That is if she's still in a good state to write. So but we hope that with the subsequent papers, by close of the day, if she has delivered, she'll be coming back to write the rest of the papers.
That's the headmistress of the Nyagli Junior High School in the Upper West Region, and John Kapi is Head of Public Affairs at the West African Examinations Council. WAEC is joining us on the telephone. Mr. Kapi, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, and thanks for having me, Alfred.
Great. We've had a number of instances of these pregnant girls sitting for the exam. This is not limited to the Upper West Region, is it not?
Yeah, it's not limited to the Upper West Region only. We've received also reports, I think, from the Bulletin region. And then there are others also that have indicated, heavily pregnant candidates who are writing the examination.
In such instances, what measures did you put in place for these girls?
Well, as a council, we depend on the Ghana Education Service to give us directives as to how to handle such persons. Because we are not told, when we ask for data of candidates who may need special attention, they do not include those who are pregnant. They only give us names of people who may be visually impaired, or they have hearing impairments, or some who have cerebral palsy or some other, problems, but not pregnant candidates, So we have made access arrangements for all those others, but then there's no provision specifically for pregnant candidates.
I see. Now we're also learning that the number of persons involved in the malpractice, different forms of malpractices, this BEC this year has risen to 16. Are you able to break down that for us? Which individuals are involved and what exactly the malpractice that they've been arrested for?
Well, as we speak, after the time I left the office, the number had risen to 24.
24?
And, of these 24, there were 2 who were heads of school, head teachers, if you want, of junior high school. And then we had also 3 people who didn't have any association with the examination but found themselves in an area where they were trying to answer the questions and then send them to the candidates in the examination hall. And then the rest of them were invigilators.
I see. So if you say out of the 24, 2 head teachers, 3 persons who didn't have anything to do with the exam. So does that mean that you had 19 invigilators as we speak?
Yes, that is correct. There were 2 things. A number of them had on their mobile phones, they had taken snapshots of the question papers, and there was evidence that they had transmitted the same to other social media platforms. And then there were others also who were found, distributing photocopied answers to candidates in the examination hall.
So what happens to these invigilators? Who recruited them, first of all?
Well, the job that we do, I think I've said this a number of times, it's a collaboration between us and the Ghana Education Service. So with BEC, we do not recruit the invigilators. The exams officers in the various districts do so. So I would say that it is the exams officer in collaboration with the district director of education who selected these people to be invigilators.
I see, but then they have violated WAEC rules. So what's the punishment for them?
Well, as a council, the punishment that we have for these offenses is to hand them over to the police. The WAEC law indicates that anybody who has the question in any form or responses to the ongoing examination would have breached one of our provisions, and then they'll be handed over to the police. The police will process them, and then they'll be charged before the courts. So the courts may decide to sentence them to a period of incarceration or maybe a fine that they are going to pay.
I see. Now, is there a possibility that this number could increase? Because we started with 6, came to 12 now. We're talking about 16, only to be updated right now by you that 24 individuals have been involved in various forms of malpractice. So with what you are observing now, could this number increase?
It is possible that the number could increase because I've received a lot of calls from, permit me to call them well-meaning Ghanaians who are not happy with what is happening in the areas where they find themselves. They indicate what some of the invigilators are doing in the examination halls and all that. So we are again going to re-strategize for the rest of the papers. We may have to send in a lot more people to, monitor these areas and to see if it is possible to apprehend some of these people and then bring them to book. Now, in addition to that, the Ghana Education Service has indicated clearly that any teachers who are in their employment and who find themselves in any of these offenses could lose their jobs. So we would hand this list over to the Director General, Ghana Education Service, and we believe that they would also have some kind of punishment for these teachers because really this is a breach of the ethics of the profession.
Mr. Kapi, I appreciate your time and I thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
John Kapi is Head of Public Affairs of the West African Examinations Council, WAEC. So the update is that there are 24 individuals involved in different forms of malpractice in the ongoing Basic Education Certificate Examination BC for this year. 2 head teachers have been arrested. 3 individuals as well who had nothing to do with the exams. They were just answering the questions to pass it on to the candidates. 19 invigilators have also been arrested. This is Hot Edition. Stay with us. Bismarck Ewusa is standing by with the latest in the world of business.
Hello, Ghana. It's a new year and Bills Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bills offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596 920 833 or 0302 200 390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the Business News on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, fuel prices projected to rise over 6% in July as global oil surge and Middle East tensions threaten Ghana's temporary relief. I am Bismarck Ewusa. Let's settle now for the detail. Fuel prices in Ghana are expected to rise again from July, ending the brief relief consumers may enjoy this June. The Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, SEMSI, is warning that a surge of over 6% could hit the pumps due to rising global oil prices and mounting geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. The following 3 Business News Desk report has details. Fuel consumers may have a brief moment of relief in mid-June, but the outlook heading into July appears far less promising. The Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, SEMSI, is projecting a rise of more than 6% in diesel prices during the first pricing window of July 2025. It attributes the likely increase to rising global oil prices and escalating tensions in the Middle East, which could begin to impact international export prices later in July. The center said prices could drop by up to 10% from June 16, translating to a 1 cedi per litre reduction at the pump, but cautioned that this will be temporary. SEMSI also took aim at government strategies that rely on short-term global price dips or a stronger cedi to justify consumer levies. According to the executive director of SEMSI, such an approach may backfire by August if both global prices and the exchange rate turn unfavorable. Benjamin Insia is urging a more sustainable fuel pricing policy that considers long-term market volatility and local economic vulnerabilities. And that was a 3 Business News Desk report on fuel prices projected to rise over 6% in July as global oil surge and Middle East tensions threaten Ghana's temporary relief. Now, Ghana's urban population is set to grow by 2.7% year-on-year over the coming decade. This will be driven by the growing construction sector. According to rating agency Fitch Solutions, urban residents are expected to make up to 65.5% of the total population by 2034. This will rise from 59.8% in 2024. In a report titled Ghana Construction Outlook, Strong Growth Likely to Spill Over to 2025, the UK-based firm said it expects a spillover of favorable macroeconomic conditions to support Ghana's robust construction industry growth in 2025. Moving on, Minister for Youth Development and Empowerment, George Opariado, has reiterated government's commitment to equipping young people with relevant skills and opportunities for sustainable employment. He highlighted the importance of improving technical education and ensuring young people are equipped with skills aligned with current market demands. The following report has details. The Inspire project seeks to support job creation by enhancing the capacity of Ghanaian SMEs and strengthening vocational training. At the launch, Sector Minister George Opariado encouraged young people to take advantage of such initiatives to build their skill sets.
As a government, we believe strongly that our old ways of educating our young people must be looked at again. And so government, through the National Apprenticeship Program, have decided that as much as we focus on our traditional education systems, we also want to give young people other opportunities to explore.
Country Manager for E for Impact, Xavier Agotimevo, made a case for SMEs to collaborate with larger corporations, potentially enabling business growth and innovation.
Training the entrepreneur alone is not enough. We need to be able to mobilize the resources that they need to be able to move forward. We are doing this through a number of engagements.
As part of the project, an Italian Innovation Center is expected to be established at the University of Professional Studies, Accra. Let's stay a while longer on youth employment, and Ghanaian startups are being urged to adopt international standards like ISO certification to improve their chances of scaling and attracting investment. The call by Chief Executive of Go Compliance Solutions, James Ofori, comes as more local startups struggle to secure funding despite promising ideas and products. The following report has details. Compliance expert and Chief Executive of Go Compliance Solutions, James Ofori, argues ISO certification could be the missing piece for startups to scale operations, attract investors, and enter competitive markets.
Currently, if you look at the entrepreneurship sector, businesses are really struggling. Why am I saying so? If you look at some of the requirements that they need to meet, they have no idea. So they start business along the line and then they crash. When you need to even take the business to another stage, maybe scale it up a bit, it becomes very difficult. They have basically no idea. And some of the government regulations are also one way or the other frustrating them.
James Ofori also notes that poor bookkeeping remains a key reason many early-stage businesses are denied financing.
We have one clause that talks about document control. So that clause normally addresses bookkeeping, how you maintain your records, your documentation, both filing and retrieval systems. We guide them through those processes as well.
Go Compliance Solutions, a local firm focused on regulatory advisory, offers capacity building and tailored support for early-stage businesses, making compliance, record keeping, and certification more accessible. And that report ending the business news on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Elsa. For more business stories, please check out our website, s3news.com. Thanks for your company. Billy Shen is here for sports. Please stay.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Billy Shen. Now this weekend, all eyes will be on the University of Ghana Sports Stadium as Asante Kotoko 9-time FA Cup winners take on Division 1 side Golden Cake in a historic MTN FA Cup final. Now Kotoko, after missing out on the Premier League title, are determined to claim their 10th FA Cup trophy and secure a place in the CAF Confederation Cup. Now let's hear from the head coach of Asante Kotoko, Karim Zito, ahead of the big game.
I won the won with Dundee FC, what I said was, I'm very happy I played and won the cup with Asante Kotoko as a player. And now today, here I am as a coach. I've also won it with Dundee FC. And this one, it will be like I played the club and won. And then coach the club and won. So this is the difference. The difference was here I played the club itself. But I didn't play Dreams FC. But I only coached Dreams FC. But here I played. And then at the end of the day, I also won the cup. And then when I played the team, I won the FA. And then now, as a coach, I was just like my father, Kusandi. He played Kotoko, won the African Cup, and then he coached Kotoko, and then won the African Cup. So that is the similarities.
That was Abdul Karim Zito, the head coach of Asante Kotoko. But let's listen to his opposite number, Fifi Parker Hansen, who is the head coach of Golden Cake.
Kotoko have a rich history as far as the FA Cup and the league is concerned. You know, they are very historical and they are very good side. They have all what it takes to play in Africa and so on and so forth. So people will rate them higher than us. But football is football. Others can surprise the big giants. So it's not new, and it's not news if we beat Kotoko, you know. So we are preparing ourselves physically, mentally, and then psychologically, so that we'll approach them with right mindset to surprise them.
That was the coach of Golden Cake, Fifi Parker Hansen. Remember, the MTN FA Cup final will be live on TB3 Kickoff is at 5 p.m. and it will be across all our various social media platforms. Now, still on the local scene, the 2025 Galka President's Cup is set to take place on July 6th at the Accra Sports Stadium, pitting our rivals Asante Kotoko and Hartlepool. The official launch was held on Thursday with key figures from the Ministry of Sports and Galka talking about the event. My colleague Edu Ej Rabi has more in the following report.
Headlining this year's clash is a historic rivalry between the country's two most successful clubs, Asante Kotoko and Hartlepool. During Thursday's launch, Galka, the welfare body of Ghanaian football clubs, revealed key events surrounding this year's event, including matchday logistics, sponsorship packages, and fan engagement initiatives.
Gaga has a collaboration with Suka Africa at Sports 20 in the area of sustainability and recently jointly attended an international forum in South Africa. We believe that our partnership is to introduce green football to contribute our quota to the government green economy as sports people.
The 10th edition of the President's Cup is being held in honor of President John Dramani Mahama, who returned to the presidency following the 2024 general elections. The event serves as both a tribute and a platform to reunite the nation through sport. The last time the two Ghana Premier League giants met in the competition, the Phobians walked away with the bragging rights, and skipper Benjamin Asare believes they can repeat the success this year.
On the field of play, money ball model, money war. She into me in my life, get nothing and not get with me in.
Meanwhile, communications director for the Porcupine Warriors, Safo Duku, believes their recent dominance against their arch rivals makes them the ultimate favorites to lift the trophy.
I wonder how this competition would have received the necessary attention without Kotoko. Because it's a fact that you can't play such a match without bringing in Kotoko. Because the enthusiasm, the euphoria, everything will be lost completely.
That was a report on the Galka President's Cup. To some more stories, the second edition of the Thomas Party tournament has officially come to an end. It came to an end earlier today at the Tuba Astro Turf, and the tournament is an initiative from the Black Stars deputy captain to give back to the community and giving to the needy but talented young players. About 13 scouts from Europe's elite clubs were present at the tournament. Now, this is what Party's PRO, Samuel Siga, had to say about how the overall tournament turned up.
Yeah, absolutely. It was brilliant. I mean, right from the 10th all throughout to today, the 13th, it's been massive. I'd say everything Thomas Partey is bigger and better, and I'm super delighted with what I saw here throughout Tuesday till today. All the teams putting in a shift, organizers doing their bit to make this success. And I would like to thank Ghanaians and everyone who was involved in this, in making it a success. Yeah, I'm sure at the very right time we'll put that out for people to know. But this tournament has come to stay. And Thomas always is passionate about Ghana and will always give back to society where it all started. Yeah, I would say super impressed with what I saw here today. Every player put in that shift, put in that determination, and you could see the hunger in their bellies. So the agents are happy, the scouts are happy, and that's the most important thing.
Thank you. That was Samuel Zigat there talking about Thomas Partey's tournament. Now, the FIFA Club World Cup is entering a new era with an expanded 32-team format set to take place in the United States. Despite the excitement, ticket sales have been slower than expected, raising questions about fan engagement and the tournament's appeal in the U.S. Now, Derek Kayim, who is currently based in the U.S., had this to say about the fan engagement.
The big ones, the teams that have got that pedigree, and also you kind of mention a tournament like this and not take out the team that has won the most in this competition, that's Real Madrid. You can take out Real Madrid. If announced Trent Alexander-Arnold to boost or beef up their squad. Also, Manchester City, they're doing an incredible job. Signing Rancheki, Jan Randers, and the likes. I Nuri also into the squad, and that's a packed squad, a big squad, and I think Pep Guardiola would like to win it because they are the final champions of the reigning champions of the FIFA Club World Cup, so they would like to win it. We shouldn't forget Paris Saint-Germain, who just won the UEFA Champions League. They had a scintillating and unstoppable team and unstoppable squad. Possibly they could also be in the mix, but of course you can also not give the chance to the South American teams, the Boca Juniors, the Botafogos, the Flamingos. They could also give a team some hell of a tax. And
that was Derek Kayim talking about the potential favourites of ahead of the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. Bringing an end to sports here on 3FM's Hot Edition. My name is Billy Shen. We have Alfred and the rest of the team on standby with more.
Tunes in sync with a soothing voice. 3 Lounge with AJ.
Are you tired of the same old routine? Need a break from the stress and chaos of everyday life? Well, step into the 3 Lounge, your world of absolute relaxation and great music with yours truly, AJ Akwako Sapon. Welcome to the best mid-morning show in the capital and beyond. This is 3 Lounge with yours truly, your radio princess, AJ Akwako Sapon.
Love it. I love it. It's great.
Kickstart your week with Monday motivation, shake off the Tuesday blues, and get ready for midweek mania. Take a trip down memory lane on Throwback Thursday and wrap up the week with Funky Friday with myself and Helen Appiah Ampufo. Plus, enjoy exciting celebrity interviews, insightful conversation, engaging discussions on topics that matter, and there's a boatload of fun and easy activations that reward and appreciate you, our loyal listener.
If you are listening, we're manifesting money into your pocket this morning.
Don't miss out on the excitement. Tune in to 3 Lounge every weekday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. with AJ Akwako Sapon, only on 3FM 92.7.
It's my number one.
92.7 3FM, your urban lifestyle radio.
Accra, Ghana, Africa, and worldwide. Join us on Inspirational Gospel Mix this and every Sunday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m.
107. We're also on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions are welcome at 3FM 927 right out to you and to the rest of the world. To some more information, and tension has flared in Sumner Boy as a group of angry youth blocked roads leading to the Samatex Timber Company, protesting the arrest of illegal miners operating in a nearby forest reserve. Now, from the information we're monitoring, the media reports, the local chief obstructed traffic and assaulted some company personnel while demanding the release of the arrested miners. The Forestry Commission's Rapid Response Team had apprehended the miners earlier for engaging in illegal mining in a protected reserve. This incident comes just days after the Inspector General of Police's Special Anti-Galamsey Task Force temporarily withdrew from the area following a series of raids on illegal mining camps. Despite the crackdown, the defiant miners reportedly returned to the forest, leading to their arrest. Police in the area have called for reinforcement to restore order as the blockade continues to disrupt movement in the community. Authorities have yet to issue an official statement on whether the detained miners will be prosecuted. Local leaders are being urged to intervene to prevent further escalation as illegal mining remains a persistent challenge in Ghana's forest reserves. We'll keep an eye on this one and we'll be updating you a lot more as we go on. But the West Africa Science Service Center on Climate and Adopted Use, WASCAL, is advocating increased governmental interest in youth-led climate change initiatives. According to the center, this is key to ensuring the inclusion of new technology and modern solutions into climate change conversations. As a result, WASCAL has launched its Positive Climate Attitude Advocacy, dubbed the Climate Change Advocacy Now initiative. This campaign, which is part of events to commemorate the 2025 World Environment Day, will spotlight youth-led solutions, engage strategic media outlets, and catalyze also the grassroots tree planting efforts as a symbol of ecosystem restoration. Here's Executive Director of WASCAL, Professor Emmanuel Rambe, speaking to the media earlier today on what this means and the way forward in climate change action in Ghana.
And we've noticed that in the fight against global warming and climate change, education is key. And as you know, we live in countries where the youth represent a very good percentage of the population. So touching on the youth, that is constituting them the elite, the future of tomorrow, we kind of touching the heart of the fight against climate change.
There's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. That's it for Hot Edition. There's also a full recording of this on 3news.com. That's 3FM927 on Facebook and also on YouTube. Join the team at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight with Kemini and Dennis Poberi Wadam, and also 7 a.m. tomorrow morning for Ghana. That's Key Point on TV3. It's also going to be live on 3FM 92.7 and also on 3news.com for some more updates. The drive continues with DJ Faculty and Trade Market as they give you all the details and the music for Friday. Enjoy.